Greetings and welcome to a live FSX tour. Now, in this video I'm going to be honest about a few things as I open it up. Well, first and foremost, I'm going to admit that my streams about the F-14 Tomcat, they suck. However, please remember the song Try by Pink. You know, you gotta get up and do it, you know? You gotta get up and try, and that's what I did. Because I, for one thing, want to make Microsoft Flight Simulator X a profitable living. So I got up and tried. Now, of course, keep this in mind too, is that if you get up and actually try, you know, that's where you'll get better. And I realized that something needs to be done better about the Aerosoft F-14 Tomcat. A mod needs to be made. And if there's anybody, you know, who works for Aerosoft and has noticed these issues with the live streams about the F-14 Tomcat I've flown, please bear it in mind and let the Aerosoft company know that the mod I'm talking about needs to be made. A mod is a slang term for modification. Now, I haven't streamed for a while in this video because I had a birthday from the time being I recorded this video, like 9 days ago. That's about right. It was from the time being I recorded this video. However, birthday week is over, so here I am, once again, live streaming. So now let's tour FSX. Now, while we're at it, here I am. I mean, whoever gives a tour of their FSX game? I know I do, and I choose to. So, let's go to Pilot Records, and this is a game, so what's wrong with showing the book? This is all I've flown here. Looks like I have a total of 21.9er flight hours. And here I have the photos I've taken. Now bear in mind that I have a lot of airplanes and helicopters as well as blimps that I want to fly on my mind. Now many of which are only going to be available as freeware. And even if they are freeware, can you please still like me, comment, and subscribe? Because freeware for many add-ons is your only option. It really is. Like if I want to fly the F4 Phantom, the older models, I think the only version available, at least for the Air Force F4 Phantom, is freeware. And it's former payware by AlphaSim. And I even want to fly the Lockheed C-141 Starlifter, and still my only option is freeware. Because, for one thing, you know, I can't read fluent Cyrillic, at least for the time being. Oh, here's some photos I've taken. Now let's go to Learning Center. Now, for those who are new to FSX, please bear in mind I'm very dummy-friendly, so please forgive me if I repeat some lines or things like that, because as I stated, I'm once again dummy-friendly. You get started, you can learn about missions, living world, multiplayer, get you flying, big picture, step-by-step options, and you got all this here. Now let's go to free flight. Okay, at the same time in this video, I will admit that I help out with a lot of weird stuff. And in this case, of course, I also desire to be a Rearz Promoter. And Rearz, what it is an adult diaper company based out of Canada, and they make mostly the ABDL, the adult baby diaper lover type diapers, like Rearz Safari and Rearz Dinosaurs. And if there's any member of Rearz who's watching this video, I'm going to go ahead and tell you why. Well, for one thing, you know, I am a very big fan of Clive Cussler, Stephen Kuntz, Webb Griffin, and not to mention Tom Clancy. Yes, and also, you know, good health, especially the need to provide diapers in certain areas actually has to be fought for. At least for some things. Like, there are some flights that I want to fly, playing Microsoft Flight Simulator X, where I pretend to deliver the diapers to those who need them, because I'm imagining in my world that the diapers, have to be delivered by airplane to clinics and or families who need them, because just a typical truck delivery would be too long to deliver them. And not to mention that Clive Cussler and of course Tom Clancy are dead. So I want to try to take up their legacy somehow by fighting for good health. And of course, help support good health. And of course, some fictional stories. Now, a lot of the good airplanes are going away, and there's nowhere else to live out those dreams, except for a promise to help keep certain behaviors out of the classroom by flying FSX. Because as I do desire to get a private pilot's license someday, I make this video because, for one thing, I am keeping a promise, and that is, of course, to keep certain behaviors out of a certain real airplane. And your teacher might have said to you in the past, or you might have heard it with other students too, if you want to do that, you go out there. And that's what I'm doing, is I'm going out there, out in the hallway or outside, to get that behavior out of me. And FSX seems to be the place to do it. Well, anyhow, Rearz, I choose to be a Rearz promoter because I have a feeling I'd be an excellent one, due to the fact that I have a heart to want to help others. And of course, your printed colored diapers, it could be good to help elevate the mood of people, and not to mention help the people, especially the nurses who are changing that person's diaper, have a little bit of fun. And for the same reason, a church has stained glass windows. And not to mention Red Bull airplanes are also printed like the Rearz diapers. So if there's any Rearz pilot, if there's any Red Bull pilot who wants to use Rearz, go ahead and use it to add a little more extra fun, especially while you're flying your Red Bull aircraft/airplanes, which we'll get to in a minute. So anyway, before I become a Rearz promoter, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Another RV. Here we go. Oh, but okay. Now, I'm not flying because even after my birthday, from the time being I recorded this video, I still need to be careful going in because of how much I've eaten. Oh well, it's a special occasion. I need to recover from that. But Rearz, any promoter of Rearz, if you're watching this, this is what I mean. You see it? It's very fun color printed, just like the Rearz Safari and Rearz Dinosaurs. And the reason why I make it a good Rearz promoter is because the Rearz diapers, like Rearz Safari and Rearz Dinosaurs, as well as Barnyard, Little Monsters, etc., are just like this airplane here. And the pilot here can and may wear some, if the pilot, of course, chooses to click our links to take some home with him or her. So that way, this pilot could have an excellent mood whilst flying this Red Bull aircraft/airplane. And I want to help this Red Bull pilot keep his bodily waste in one place and have fun whilst doing it at the same time. And or if anything, have a lot more fun while wearing the Rearz diapers. So the bottom line about the Red Bull story on why I should be a Rearz promoter is because I have a feeling... Why do I keep saying I have a feeling? Actually, it's because I really want to help the Red Bull air demo team, like this one here. And, of course, I have a feeling I could be an excellent instrument of service. by doing this. Being a Rearz Promoter, that is, to help whoever's in that Red Bull airplane carry out the show, as well as keep the pilot self-entertained whilst entertaining the crowd, but by not looking into the flight suit, so the pilot could concentrate whilst flying, and when the flight is over, the pilot could relax a little by looking at the print. Now bear in mind too that as much as I love airplanes, I also have a good heart. And believe it or not, nobody wants to deal with diapers anymore, especially diapers that are not for babies anymore. And what diapers have to do with this is because some pilots wear diapers by choice, some of which have to, and that's alright. And yet another reason why I would make a good Rearz promoter is so I could help those pilots out. Or if anything, you know, I want to put at least some movement into helping those pilots out. The ones who choose to wear diapers and those who have to. Because, bottom line, diapers are not just for babies. Now, to see more diaper videos, go to my self-help channel, which I'll be linking up very soon. You're not going to get it today because this is a live stream. Or at least, not from the time being I was talking, because this video is a live stream, and live streams take a while before you can put links to another channel, at least for me anyway. Bearing in mind that I'm still new, and of course I'm actually trying to get out of the newness as possible. So here we're at it once again. Here's one example flight I could do about being a Rearz promoter. Here's my A2A Beechcraft Bonanza here. This one's my favorite, November 41 Golf. And here's an example of me being a Rearz promoter. I pretend to fly from going to the Coronado Airport, which is still open in Microsoft Flight Simulator X, but not in reality/real life, because I could go either from Double Eagle and or the Albuquerque Sunport to fly to the Coronado Airport and deliver the Rearz diapers to whoever's there, especially the Rearz dinosaurs, Safari, Little Monsters, Barnyard, Little Squirts, as well as alpacas at the Coronado Airport, and then fly off to go choose another aircraft/airplane and do the same thing. Now, if you ask why I want to do this, is because, you know, we're expected to serve somehow. You know, even, you know, as a Christian brethren like myself, you know, you're expected to help others too. So what I'm doing is using my gifts from Yeshua to, of course, live it out in FSX. And not to mention, be a help to other Christian brethren by delivering Rearz diapers to Coronado Airport, and then from there, repeat. And believe it or not, actually, a diaper is a needed piece of medical equipment. It's just not some cute garment to put on any person, you know. And of course, many pilots who fly these airplanes here are young, and yet they have incontinence issues. So why not try to be a help to them? Once again, I'm dummy friendly, so I'm going to say this. No one wants to help anyone anymore, especially about weird stuff. But I choose to help somehow, but won't really help much. Okay, here we go. Here we have A2A Cessnas here. And yes, here's a 172. Yes, I'm in Civil Air Patrol as well. Now, there might come a time in real life that I'm going to be with Civil Air Patrol also doing similar things like delivering diapers to certain people. I don't know when that day is going to be, though. However, having been in Civil Air Patrol for 9 years, I know it's going to come. It's just a matter of when. There's no if. You really don't know at this time. Let me see if I can find a fun one. Okay, here's fun Cessna. Sometimes, like if I want to be undercover, delivering the Rearz diapers to whomever needs them, such as a clinic in the Northeast Heights in Albuquerque, New Mexico, I could be discreet, or even more discreet by flying the diapers back here, where the cursor is. Now, you might ask, why do you want to be delivering diapers playing FSX for some of your flights? It's because it's good grounds to train in order to do stuff. And it's a good place to practice such missions. And of course, I wanted to fly for a living for quite a long time, but I will admit I messed my health up. I think a lot of it had to do with genetics and some pride. So one of the best ways in order for me to live those dreams out is by playing Microsoft Flight Simulator X. And yes, pride goes before destruction, and I'm sorry now for the stuff I did. And now I have to reap it. And for the time being, the only way I could live it out and prepare for the things I said, like delivering diapers, with certain airplanes, is by playing FSX. And for me being dummy friendly, I'm going to say this. The reason why I choose to fly by delivering diapers in Duke City is because an airplane is faster. And not to mention, I'm bringing my fictional world to life somehow, just like Clive Cussler, Stephen Kuntz, and Webb Griffin do. Yes, that's right, Webb Griffin, Stephen Kuntz, Clive Cussler. I really, of course, want to make some of my fiction come true. Because it's good. It'll help people think. And here's a mistake I admit I butchered. I tried to put a Cessna 182 by A2A in Civil Air Patrol colors, but it turned out to be similar colors to the other Cessna 182, as you might have seen. This one's a German registration. Delta Echo X-Ray Sierra Whiskey. That's German registration. And now this one here is a US registration. And owner of this airplane, please forgive me for doing this, but I paid for your add-on. So it's November 6182 Golf. To a Curtis. Oh yeah, sometimes I want to be a fighter pilot playing FSX. Now, I will admit when I was little, I was not specific on the track of pilot I wanted to be when I grew up, so I think the best place to live it out and make a profitable living is by playing FSX, Just like certain users like Air Force Proud 95. And Air Force Proud 95, if you're watching this, thank you for letting me come across your channel. You help me, of course, keep certain behaviors out of the classroom, like in Civil Air Patrol. You help me keep those behaviors out of the gliders by, of course, not only watching your videos, but by exercising exercising those things at home, playing Microsoft Flight Simulator X. And of course, you help me create ideas to entertain people. Because I realize, I think one of the talents in me is to entertain people as well. So, okay, here we go. Here we are at A2A Curtis, and yes, I'm giving you a tour. Because why not give a tour? Ooh, this one's a flying tiger. As you can see here, this one was used by the Air Force in China during World War II. And this one here was flown, as stated, from Kunming, China, in January of 1942. And this was part of General Claire Chennault's Flying Tigers. And yes, a P-40, of course, is an important airplane to me because a lot of the flying I did in my imagination, actually came from the P-40. So at this point in my life, since I'm old enough, I've chosen to bring my imagination to life to make a profitable living out of it. Now, I can't make that living unless I actually get up and try, reap my mistakes, and then from there, improve upon them. Now, it's going to cost some tries, though, for me to improve upon those mistakes. Because I admit it, the computer lags, I get sick, I get other important things in my life, like medical appointments, things like that. So now that my birthday week is over for the time being, I'm going to be live streaming as regularly as possible. And, oh, take a look at this P-40 here. Now, another thing I thought of doing is this. Like when I play FSX, as I could pretend that I'm protecting the airplanes carrying the diapers from Rearz to get from one end of Duke City to the other. Because, believe it or not, actually, many of the adults, who live near the Coronado Airport need diapers. Many of them do, because many of which are old. And not to mention, some are young, but they just can't hold their bodily waste as much as possible. I mean, I don't know who they are, but I want to give an idea that I want to help. Actually, I want to give a hint that I want to help somehow. Now, I just can't sit there and hope people are going to buy such items. And once again, Rearz, if you're watching this, please consider me to be a Rearz promoter. Please do. Nobody wants to. HP support assistance. Fade. And this P-40 here actually was flown by 2nd Lieutenant Kenneth Taylor, stationed at Pearl Harbor during the Japanese attack on the 7th of December 1941, along with his fellow pilot George Welch. And they came from Haleiwa, and they fought back during that day. Not to mention Francis Gabreski was among them as well. And these colors here are similar to the ones used at that time. I don't want to fly it, but alright. We have to choose other aircraft. The A2A Piper. And a lot of the airplanes I choose to fly playing FSX and in real life are very important because a lot of my imaginary flying was done out of these aircraft/airplanes. It's a good thing I did these because I remember once in the Civil Air Patrol when I went for my second orientation flight, my instructor told me that the flight simulator was paying off, and now that I have the words, I'll say a lot of the a lot of the flying I've done in my world actually came from my world, meaning it came from my imagination. And now, here we are, trying to live it out as best I can. Same story about being a Rearz promoter. Some of these airplanes, they carry the diapers/nappies to go from one end of Albuquerque to the other, help those in need. Now, I will say stuff about the diapers being needed in these videos. I promise you I will. Now, the F-14 Tomcat, I'm probably thinking of holding flying for a while because, as stated earlier in the live stream, modifications definitely need to be made due to the fact that it lagged a lot, and of course you might have noticed very terrible graphics. Like, for example, this airplane here, if this was a Tomcat, it would not be colorful, and it would take such a long time for the graphics to reappear. That's exactly what I mean by a modification must be made. That was a Piper Cherokee I was showing you. Let me show you. Correction. Yeah, I was like, that was a Piper Comanche. Now I'll show you a Piper Cherokee. Last I heard, the Piper Cherokee was not really, of course, tough to fly. But it's up to you. I could still be a Rearz Promoter and fly this at the same time. Now, for being a Rearz Promoter as well, in Rearz, if you want to see my face, which I will show it to you, I promise I'll show my face on my self-help channel, as well as, of course, mention your products in some of these live streams I do. And I'll leave a link for people to take home the products in the description. However, as usual, I'm going to go off the real world, meaning that you're not going to instantly get it with sparkling dust. It's going to take days, though. However, I promise I'd make a great Rearz Promoter so I could help those in need. Usually I have to put the rears in the rear. Right here. Same thing for here, you know. I could pretend to bring a rear sling load and drop it somewhere. I don't get why I want to fly an EH-101 for such mission. You know, it's pretty much redundant, but okay, each and everything works, especially for those in need. One thing I could imagine are a black U and a black N for United Nations here. And we also deliver the rears to whoever needs them. Okay, I'll be honest here, you know, about Airbus. I don't really fly any of the default aircraft. I just fly as I please. Like this one here. Now, a modification must be made for this one, because when you're looking at it, the tail is gone, as you can tell right here. You can still imagine carrying the products, as I said right here, and pretend to deliver the items. And oh, what we have here, an air creation triculture light. Oftentimes, this aircraft is what appears on my screen. Oftentimes, when I go test flying, I fly this aircraft. However, I will not carry Rearz flying this aircraft because I use this aircraft to do this. Warm up the flight simulator, as well as warm up my skills. Now, of all flying in reality/real life, it started right here in the ASK-21. This is where a lot of my skills came in from flying in the Civil Air Patrol. Like when I went to glider encampment in 2013 in Hobbs, New Mexico, I had flown in the Alexander Schleicher Flugzeug ASK-21, like this one here. This is the first aircraft where I actually got to do an actual takeoff and an actual landing. Then from there I got very comfortable with it, and then started to fly even more in my head, even after the glider encampment. Well, it's now Glider Flight Academy, or Glider Academy, whatever. So when the activity was over, I went ahead and flown this. I will admit that when my parents took me to go see the internship with Google, I will admit that whilst watching the movie, I did this in my head. I'd flown the glider. And from there, I'd flown even more, mentally, until it was time to go to the 2014 Glider Academy. The Glider Flight Academy, that was. Now, let's see. Oh, what do we have here? Now, bear in mind that, for the time being, I don't fly a motor glider just yet. Hey, wait. I did not click the motor glider. I like the tow plane, just because that's my own personal taste. Or that's what I like personally, like this power glider here. Oh, and it seems like it's registered from Sweden. And now let's see this. Right here, I don't use this because, like I said, my personal preference, and my gosh, it's plane here. It is registered from Sweden. Now, some add-ons I got for my birthday, and I'm still installing them. However, they don't seem to be coming through for the time being. But I'm just going to go ahead and give it a few days. Now, JustFlight.com for the time being is not letting me in. Even though I get my email and password correct, it just doesn't let me. Does anyone know a fix at this time? Just in case it does that again, please let me know. And we have a Beechcraft 99 airliner, which I want to fly someday, and pretend to deliver the cargo that I kept talking about. And I think the flight I could imagine in my world would be this. And more than likely, since I live in Duke City, I'm going to use an airline that doesn't exist anymore. Or better yet, let me show you this. Looks like I'm going to use Pilgrim Airlines to do it, but the Pilgrim Airlines flight will be a freighter flight because, with my desire to be a Rearz Promoter, I'm pretty much a Pilgrim. Not too bad. This is an FSX default aircraft here. And I imagine some of the things I do, you know. Well, I'm pretty much somebody who puts out fires, like the need for diapers. I fly this aircraft here sometimes, to help deliver what's needed. Sometimes during rehearsal, before I live stream, I'd fly this. My gosh. Boeing. Now this is the first tour of my Flight Simulator X, because add-ons change from time to time, so on my second tour, you're going to see different sets of add-ons. Because sets come and go, either because I reset my computer, and or in some cases, you know, I, of course, have to get a new computer because I burned a part or something. And if I don't stream or upload for a long time, that's because I'm either getting a new computer or I'm cleaning it out. As in, a virus might have gotten in there and I need to restore the computer. Which happens, But I will promise you this. I will stream and upload as often as I possibly can. And here for Boeing, I have all kinds of choices here. This Boeing 747 Air Force One, this is not even real. If you have the Aerosoft F-16X, you're going to get this aircraft here. Because it's available on a mission. However, I won't fly this. At least not for now, but... yeah, it's 737, also Pacific Airlines. I've flown this airline a lot since I was a sophomore in high school. Pacific Airlines, that is. Oh, I like that gold. So this is a live tour.